Back to Sheridan. Got that contract signed, and there's a couple of 3 trips made pretty short order. Excuse me. But once that contract was signed, finding housing was a bit of a problem. First looked, didn't see anything at all. You know, with Roy already in the Navy, there's still 3 kids at home, so we need a little bit of space. I don't know who spotted the house, but we got the word that, hey, there is a house available, and we were able to check it out and liked it. Had, I think maybe a double lot. Had a big old willow tree back there in the back, and I don't know if the goalpost was already up. I think maybe it was. So shoot a few baskets right there in your backyard. Garden space. A lot of lawn. In fact, Randy thought there was entirely too much lawn. He drew the assignment of being the mower boy. Excuse me. And double garage. You got far north. It's cold sometimes in the winter. It's good to have a double garage. Maybe you just have 1 car. You got to have a place to hang a deer. And if you get 2, it's still possible to squeeze a deer in there somewhere, I think. Before long, I heard little rumors back when I was going back and forth when I was back on the Evergreen area that the faculty had decided to give me a going away gift, and they did. They gave me a very nice Gruen watch that I wore for years and years and years. In fact, I wore it until it needed some repair after years and years. I found out you couldn't get a Gruen watch repaired. Fine company, fine watch. What do you mean you can't get it repaired? Gruen doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't? Nope. A Japanese outfit bought it, closed it up, got rid of some competition. But the joke was that the lady that was telling me that they had this discussion as to just what to do, since they wanted to give me a little gift, various topics were suggested, and the jokers in the crowd said, you know, what we really ought to get him is a log chain, so that he can get up there and have something to tie to a tree or a rock when that Wyoming wind comes up. Well, what they didn't know is that Sheridan really is the garden spot of Wyoming, and we had wind occasionally, of course, but not any worse than we've had in, never, certainly not as bad as we've had in Kansas, and nothing like when you get down to Casper. I got to admit that I never went through Casper that it wasn't blowing, and I mean blowing hard. Now, the truth is, if you lived in Casper, probably lots of beautiful, mild, not windy days. By gosh, when we went through, the wind was whistling. One of those quick trips up there was just Lou Finch and I in his VW convertible. Lou was doing the driving, and in fact, it was the first road trip up. Never in my life would I have believed that there were so many antelope in Wyoming, but that was in the spring, the early spring, and probably the grass was a little greener down closer to the highways. I don't know, you know, the interstate highway was pretty new. In fact, it wasn't even completed yet. We weren't hardly out of Cheyenne, and we started seeing antelope, and we saw antelope. Well, we saw a deer or two, too, but oh my gosh, I bet we saw 500 to 1,000 antelope on the way up. Of course, that Lou, he got the nickname up there at Sheridan of Eagle Eye. He could spot a herd of antelope or a single antelope quicker than I could, and so we had lots of antelope to view because he'd say, hey, there it is. Later on a trip with the family, we would have contests. You know, I'm taking the family and we're going somewhere in Wyoming, we'd have contests. Dad and one of the kids watch the left side of the road, and Mom and the others watch this side of the road, and see which side of the road we can count the most antelope on. Made pretty good contest. See a lot of antelope back in those days. Excuse me. Well, we made the move, but first I went up alone once. And Dr. Wright, Virginia Wright, made me right comfortable. Called and said, glad I was up. Could she visit with me a little? Yes, sure. We visited a little bit. And she said, say, there's a celebration up at, can't think of the right name of the place now, but where Custer lost his hair, yellow hair, got taken down. And she said, they're having a reenactment up there this weekend, and I'm going up. Would you like to ride up? Well, yeah, I would. Wow, what a show. Hundreds of people participated and thousands came to watch, and by God, there's not enough people. You know, there's no big metro area up in that part of Wyoming. In fact, Sheridan argued with Rock Springs as to who was the third largest city in Wyoming. And they had, I think, held the title clearly, and then Rock Springs was challenging. That was part of what made Sheridan a little different than anything I ever experienced before or after. That's a major city when you're the third or contested third largest city in a state. We had a state senator from there, and have more about him a little later. The production, the reenactment of Custer's Last Stand was awesome. I'd swear there was at least 100 and maybe more Indians, real Indians, playing the part of the Indians. And they had their teepees, and they had looked like women and children around them, and, you know, looked very realistic village. And then they bring them out of the village and go after the armies coming over that ridge, and boom, boom, bang, bang. A lot of white guys in really authentic uniforms. Of course, the outcome was already predicted, no, not predicted, definite, that when the shooting was over and the arrows had been flown, wasn't any soldiers standing. So it was a great thing. It was a very nice thing of Mrs. Wright to invite me to go up and see that, because I don't know if I'd ever gotten up there otherwise. She was full of stories. She had a lot to say about the schools, and I don't know if she and Bill Cooper had some trouble in the past or just why. But oh boy, did I hear a lot of stuff about that high school and about that principal. I don't know whether she was objective or not. She was definite, real definite. And when you put that with what I'd seen when I visited the high school and with what I'd heard from in the board interview and from the board at the time I was up there to sign the contract, looked like gonna be a rough go dealing with Sheridan High School, Bill Cooper.